Hello, it's Ruby Burrito and welcome. So on Monday we got a blog post about a lot of quality of life items and changes that they're making to the game, and we also got a sneak peek at Expac 5. Expac 5 is going to be coming this year, that is what they confirmed in that post, which makes it the shortest period of time between expansions that we've ever seen. From Core Tyria to Heart of Thorns, we had about 3 years, another 2 years for Path of Fire, 4 years for End of Dragons, and then it was a couple months longer than a year from End of Dragons to Soto, more like a year and a half. I believe it was roughly February to August. So a year and 6 months. Now, if we get something this year, it's going to be, of course, less than a year and 4 months, which will be the shortest period of time, which is very exciting. So I want to talk about places that we could see that content be and what the content might have to do with. So I did see that Wooden Potatoes put out a video, and I don't really want to step on the area that he was discussing. So he was discussing pre-searing Ascalon and the Verdant Cascades. So what I want to talk about today is the Blood Legion Homelands. In the background, you'll see a lot of the assets that they added for this area, and it's not a lot of assets that we've seen too much in other places. It doesn't perfectly fit with the picture. However, I do see them being able to change the assets a little bit from one section to the other. You can see that there's these watery areas here, there's some darker spaces on the map, and they can always change what it looks like in a heartbeat if we don't already have the content. And already on this map, we do have some drastic changes from the main section of the map to the Dalida Forest up here. I think it would be beneficial, one, because while people were upset with the reuse of assets in Soto, I do think it would be great for them to kind of reuse something like this, because it's not quite so obvious. They can make some tweaks and changes, and I think it can be done in a really good way. Speaking of reusing assets, in a different manner, during the Icebrood Saga, we were supposed to get a lot of content with the Norn, the Char, and all of these different stories in this area of the world. We only got one map in the Blood Legion Homelands, and that's going to be Grothmar Valley. Well, they might have already had a lot of story, a lot of lore, background, character information, character development planned for this section of the world. If they're able to come back and reuse that, I think not only would it save them a ton of development time, but it also will answer a lot of the questions that we've been asking similarly to the story regarding the Soto content. So Soto gave us answers to some crazy questions and mysteries that have been in Guild Wars since Guild Wars 1, but this could also give us a lot of background and more information about a race that, again, we saw in Guild Wars 1, and we kind of get to see what's going on with them through the personal story and everything, but a lot of the personal story kind of, you get through maybe level 30, level 40, and then you're done, and you don't really come back and touch on it. Not even on the maps that are in the Char area do we get too much of their lifestyle and their history. If we do this, we also could see a character arc ending for Ritlock or Logan, similarly to how we saw it in Secrets of the Obscure. It would be a great opportunity for ArenaNet to kind of end some more of these other long-standing characters that maybe they don't really see being forever in the game. I mean, we've got Destiny's Edge that were with us at core, but then we were introduced to all these different characters like Bram and Marjorie and Casimir, and they've kind of largely taken over the story. So it could be an opportunity for Ritlock to finally settle some of these long-standing issues. We could revisit a lot of the things that were touched on in the Icebrood Saga, and it could be a capstone for this character. If they do that, then we could potentially see future Expacs, Expac 6, giving us a capstone to somebody like Kaith over here in the Tarnished Coast. Or maybe we could expand north into the Woodland Cascades or west into the Maguma Wastes and get something for Logan. Obviously, we do have a capstone for the final member of Destiny's Edge, but we've also seen her come back a couple of times since. So there is content there that they could touch on if they really wanted to. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I know it's not a one-to-one comparison. I know the assets don't fit perfectly, but I do think that this is an area of Tyria that it could fit well. And again, I don't want to touch too much on the things that Wooden Potatoes discussed. He obviously knows a lot more about it than I do, and I don't want to be stepping on his toes. But I really did think about this area first when I saw that picture come up. I do have some other ideas of what Expac 6 could be if this is not the direction that they go, and I'd love to talk about those in a future episode or a future video. And to be honest, while I do think the Blood Legion Homelands would be great, of course Ascalon fits these. You've got the Woodland Cascades, the Maguma Wastes, and to be honest, they've changed a lot of the maps, the way that they looked. Of course, Dragonfall used to not be there. You have these sections over here that we don't have anything to do with. We could go south from the Fields of Ruin. We could go east from the Fields of Ruin. Even down here on some of these islands, we could explore more of the Isle of Istan. Anything really can be adjusted to fit the aesthetic that they're looking at. So, to be honest, I really don't think that any area is a stretch too much, other than if you were to say we were going back to the Jade Sea. I would probably argue maybe not, unless we were looking at maybe the Great Turtle Highlands. Anything really can fit that, because this could just be a picture that was set in certain lighting in certain ways so that it gives us an idea that maybe is trying to be misleading. That is most of what I wanted to discuss today. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below. If you guys want to see it in a specific place based on that picture, if you're hoping for maybe an expansion that goes all across the map of Tyria, maybe we get one map in the northeast here, maybe we get something over here, bounce around a little bit. I'm expecting they're going to do 3 maps similar to how they did in Soto. So I would love to hear your guys' thoughts down below. I'd love to be able to discuss with you what you guys would like to see. And if you guys have been enjoying the content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with what I'm posting. We just had the most recent Blackline update, so don't forget to check that out as well. And yeah, thank you guys so much for the support, and we'll see ya in the next one.